Your summer musical beautifully captures the themes of change, life's transitions, and new beginnings, all set against the nostalgic backdrop of a summer camp. Reflecting on your own youth, is there a place, tradition, or an experience that no longer exists, but
Mm,
you'd love to bring it back to possibly inspire the same sense of creativity, adventure, and connection it may have brought to you?
mm.
Well, not necessarily like camping, but like I said, I was telling my son when we started this project that my career was in aviation and I flew in LA a lot. And in the old days of LA, there was 25 airports. Now there might be five or six. Things
Hmm.
disappear. They don't, and especially airports do not come back. So with that theme in mind, that's where we started the basis of creating this musical
Hmm.
thematically, and then we built a story to match the theme we wanted to achieve.
And Eric?
For me, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, in Studio City, and I have such a nostalgia for Ventura Boulevard and how it used to the way it looked in the 60s, actually the 50s, all the way to the late 80s, early 90s, and then suddenly just got changed. It pretty much just got decimated, completely new shopping malls and everything. Um, and it's gone. It's sad. It had such personality and character, and we don't get it back. But you can go online and look at it. And it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that stuff, like a lot of LA and Hollywood history that's gone, and it's sad because it was meaningful. It has a real meaning.
Yeah, I bet. One of my favorite aspects of this special is how it balances the spectrum of emotions tied to a summer camp experience, like Charlie's excitement, his confidence, contrasted with Sally's nervousness and how things may not come as easy to her. And then the moment, even when Charlie faces his own challenges. As storytellers, what's the art of navigating these mood transitions in a way that feels authentic and relatable while ensuring the emotional shifts remain balanced and don't overwhelm or tip the tone too far in one direction?
That's the magic trick, right? That's the
Right.
that's the hard part. How do you do that? Yeah. Craig, you want to go first on this?
Yeah, I would say, I go back to an old saying, write about what you know. So, I look at myself and my son Brian's, take on camp. I had a terrible experience with camp, but but I went to camp. I was there for a week. I slept in the dirty barn, ate the bad food, got stung by yellow jackets, and went home early. Called my parents. You got to pick me up. My son went summer camp. He loved summer camp. He met friends that are kind of lifelong friends now. So the experience there that we both had blended well into telling the story. And the story is, I think, it's kind of universal amongst most kids, whether it be camp or some other place you get sent to, for a parent, whether it be school, college, whatever. It's all relatable. It's all going off, and you've got to get along with other kids and the environment and so forth. So I think that blends well universally for people watching this special.
Hmm.
I think also I just want to say that like those parts and the change, all of us working on story, it was really like something has to change every sequence. And it all has to lead up to an emotional moment that has some weight. Like we have to earn it, And I think that like in the very beginning, it's Sally trying to get out of her comfort zone and Charlie wanting her to have the same experience that she had, and he's not getting it. And that's one conflict. And finally he's getting her around to it, and there's the change where she discovers Lula May, and that's just the very beginning. And so like you're seeing a lot of these transitions starting to happen at the beginning, at the end of a sequence, and that really informs us like where these songs come. Because when there's a crescendo or a big change, we're going to get a song, and that song is what also gets us to the next emotional level. So I think just talking nerdy filmmaking stuff, that was what we were also being very conscious of with the sort of creative math, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. I just found it incredibly profound. I guess there's no way to put it other than it just feels like, I think you mentioned crescendo, but it feels like jazz music. But it also just feels so like I'm excited to show this to my son because I too often I've watched things from my own youth that I want to pass off to my son, but it requires a dialogue that we have to have and be like, well, that's not exactly how you should react. Like if your sister is going having trouble, rather than point fingers and make fun, let's find a way to understand and relate.
Hmm.
And I love that all throughout. That's why I said like complex emotions. They're they're questioning what they're feeling and trying to understand each other rather than make fun of each other.
Yeah, and I think both the comic strip, and these films we've done have let the Peanuts universe evolve in some way. Because if you compare back to Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, or he's a bully, Charlie Brown. My dad was really anti-bullying. That was kind of the main theme he tried to convey, I think, because he got picked on a lot when he was younger. We
Hmm.
went past that in this show. We think that that's kind of old school whole bullying idea, and
Yeah.
it was a little. I thought that was a little simplistic. So I think we tried to let the characters evolve in their own minds, and I think the idea of seeing the duplicity between how Charlie Brown's take on camp and Sally's take is different. But yet you go back to the selflessness of Charlie Brown when he has the option of simply saying, well, this is my last year. I could care less what happens to this camping. I'm not coming back here again. That's what most people would say. But he's like, no, we're doing this for the next generation. And again, that's the way we as adults should be thinking about national forests and schools and music and things like that. That again, when they go away, they might not come back. And if we don't think about it, hopefully, hopefully pass on to the kids and let them convey those thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. There's the line in the lyric about gonna leave this place better than we found it, and it carries such a powerful message. Eric, for you, how did working on this film and immersing yourself in this world inspire you to see the real world differently, or perhaps motivate you to leave your own mark in a meaningful way?
Yeah, I there's so many things that I just feel like need to be preserved, not only our environment, but artwork, homes that are super old that mean something. I think that that was something that now I have a wider vision of what needs to be preserved. And like we were saying earlier, there's parts of Hollywood that are gone that should have stayed, and they're gone forever, and it's forgotten. The conversation of some real film history is gone. Some of the early movie sets that Buster Keaton had, Laurel and Hardy, those places are gone, and that made Los Angeles. And it's sad to know that those things are no longer here.
Yeah.
And I wasn't so aware of it as much. And it's like now I go through Los Angeles and if I see a plaque or something, it's like that does me no good. that that studio should still be here because it made Los Angeles. And I think it's. I wish there was more preservation back then. And there is now. There's a lot happening downtown Los Angeles that is part of our LA film history and what made Los Angeles. So maybe it's also as I get older as well. But getting into this project reinforced it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I know we're about to run out of time, so I'll cut you loose on just kind of expanding upon that very thing. But what would you both put in a time capsule that represents your life? You're thinking those things, whether it's, I don't know, a piece of literature, a piece of art that you want to make sure that it stands the test of time.
That's a tough one. I'd probably put a
Yeah.
copy of my dad's first comic strip in there, just so
Mm,
everybody knows kind of where it started at. And
Yeah.
if there was, you look back when your parents pass on, you think to yourself, I wish I would have asked them this question, and I never got a chance to. And the one
yeah.
question I would have asked my dad is, why would you start with a comic strip, the first one of your lifetime, and end it with a line, Charlie Brown, how I hate him. It's
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
wonder why he would be that aggressive on his very first comic strip instead of having some off light fluffy sort of thing. I never got an answer to that, and I never will.
Mm, interesting.
I would probably steal that drawing from Craig Schulz and put it in my time capsule.
Yeah.
No, I actually have a stack of original Disney drawings from Pinocchio and Bambi
Mm,
that a neighbor gave me, and I cherish it very much. And I got it when I was a very little kid, and it really that was one of those things that informed me where to go. And so I would probably do that, for the next generation to get.